My name is Jamaima, and I am 39 years old. I live with my husband, Trevor, who is 40. Together we have built a quiet, steady life in a small house on a peaceful street. People often tell me how lucky I am to have a man like Trevor. They say he is gentle, patient, and endlessly kind, and they are right. Trevor works hard every day, and no matter how tired he is, he always comes home with a soft smile, ready to help with dinner or ask about my day. He has never raised his voice at me, never spoken in anger, and never made me feel unloved. Our life looks perfect from the outside. We eat simple dinners together at the kitchen table. On weekends, we visit our families or take slow walks around the neighborhood. Our home is warm, calm, and full of the kind of small, ordinary moments that make life feel safe. Anyone who saw us would think we had everything figured out. But there is something Trevor does not know. Something large and heavy that I carry alone. A secret I have hidden for a long time, so long that it has grown into a shadow over my heart. Sometimes it keeps me awake at night. Sometimes it makes me afraid to look Trevor in the eyes. I wish I could tell him everything. I wish I could be the honest, open wife he believes I am. But I cannot. And every day, the fear grows stronger. What will happen when he finds out the truth? Our daily life looked ordinary from the outside. Each morning, I cleaned the house while Trevor got ready for work. I enjoyed cooking, so I often prepared simple meals that made our home smell warm and welcoming by the time he returned. In the afternoons, I sometimes walked to the nearby shops to pick up groceries or just to look around. Trevor thought I liked small shopping trips because they helped me relax. He never questioned it, and I never gave him a reason to. In the evenings, we talked about our day. Trevor told me about his coworkers and the small things that happened at the office. I told him about the house, the neighbors, or a new recipe I wanted to try. He trusted me completely, especially when it came to handling money. He believed I was careful and responsible. He believed everything was fine. But beneath the quiet routine, a different life was growing inside me, one he didn't see. Whenever I felt anxious, lonely, or empty, I found myself buying things I didn't need. Clothes, shoes, bags, makeup, anything that made me feel alive for a moment. The happiness always came quickly, like a spark, and disappeared just as fast. Then came guilt, fear, and the urge to hide what I had done. I tucked shopping bags under the bed, pushed boxes into the back of the closet, and kept receipts buried in drawers. Every hidden item felt like a stone on my chest. The more I hid, the heavier I became. The house was quiet, peaceful, gentle, yet inside me, a storm was slowly building. I knew it was only a matter of time before everything I hid would come crashing into the open. Over time, the secret I carried grew heavier and harder to control. What began as small purchases, just a dress here, a pair of shoes there, slowly turned into something deeper, something dangerous. Each time I felt stressed or lonely, I found myself buying more. Sometimes I ordered things online late at night, promising myself I would return them later, though I never did. The bills began to pile up. I applied for new credit cards to cover old ones, telling myself it was only temporary. But the debt grew faster than I could track it. Soon, I stopped opening the mail because I was too afraid to see the numbers. At night, when Trevor slept peacefully beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding with fear. I kept thinking, what will happen when he finds out? How long can I hide this? One evening, everything came crashing down. Trevor came home earlier than usual. I was in the living room, surrounded by 3 large boxes I had not yet hidden. My stomach dropped when I heard the front door open. Before I could move them, Trevor stepped into the room. His eyes went straight to the boxes. "What are these?" he asked quietly. "Oh, they're just some things for the house," I said, too quickly, too nervously. Trevor walked closer and lifted one of the boxes. He opened it slowly, and inside lay a brand new dress, still wrapped in tissue paper, the price tag untouched. The room fell silent. Not angry silence, worse. A heavy, aching silence that pressed on my chest. Trevor looked at the other 2 boxes, then at me. His face wasn't angry. It was sad. Deeply, unbearably sad. Finally, he asked softly, "How many more are there, Jamaima?" "Not just these, how many more?" In that moment, everything inside me collapsed. I sat down on the sofa and began to cry. I felt small and ashamed, like a child who had broken something precious. My voice shook as I whispered everything, every lie, every credit card, every hidden bill, every moment of panic. I told him I didn't know how to stop. I told him the truth I had been too afraid to face. Buying things made me feel alive for a moment, but the guilt afterward was destroying me. I expected him to shout. I expected him to walk out. I expected anger, betrayal, disappointment. Instead, Trevor just stood there, quiet, hurting. His eyes were full of sadness, but not hatred. He listened to every word until I had nothing left to confess. The truth was out now. Our peaceful life, the life I had pretended to protect, was suddenly fragile, cracked open by my own hands. In that heavy silence, I realized that everything we had built could fall apart if we didn't face what came next. Trevor sat down across from me, still holding the dress in his hands. For a moment, he didn't speak. He just looked at me with an expression I had never seen before. It wasn't anger. It wasn't disappointment. It was something deeper, something that made my heart ache even more. After a long silence, he asked quietly, "Why, Jamaima? Why did you buy so much? Why did you hide it from me?" His voice was soft, but the question cut through me. I felt exposed, as if every hidden part of my heart had been pulled into the light. My hands shook, and tears streamed down my face as I tried to explain. "I don't know how to say it," I whispered. "Sometimes I feel empty inside. When I buy something new, the emptiness goes away for a few minutes. It makes me feel alive. But the feeling never lasts. And then the guilt comes back. Stronger than before. I know I shouldn't do it. I know it's wrong. But I kept doing it anyway. I didn't want you to see how weak I was." Saying those words felt like breaking open. I felt ashamed, guilty, and unworthy. I kept thinking, he's going to leave. He should leave. I have ruined everything. But Trevor didn't walk away. He didn't shout or blame me. Instead, he gently put the dress back in the box, came over to me, and held my trembling hands. "Jamaima," he said softly, "you should have told me. You're not alone in this. We will face this together." His kindness broke me in a different way. Not because it made everything better, but because it forced me to face the truth. Forgiveness doesn't erase the damage, and love doesn't ignore pain. His words were not a simple, "it's okay." They were a promise, a difficult, painful promise to walk through this reality side by side. That night, we sat at the kitchen table with all the bills, credit cards, and unopened letters spread out between us. The table was covered with evidence of my secret life, every number, every debt, every consequence. Trevor read through them slowly while I cried quietly beside him. The shame was overwhelming, but his calm presence kept me from falling apart completely. It was the most emotional moment of my life, not because he forgave me, but because he finally saw all of me, even the parts one wanted to hide. And instead of turning away, he stayed. For the first time, I realized how much honesty can hurt, and how much it can heal. In the days that followed, our home felt different, quieter, more fragile, but also strangely clearer. The truth was out now. There was no more hiding, no more pretending, no more secret boxes waiting to be tucked under the bed. Trevor and I sat together at the kitchen table every evening, sorting through the bills and the long list of debts I had created. It was overwhelming to see everything written down, line after line of consequences. But this time, I didn't face it alone. The first step Trevor suggested was simple but terrifying. We cut up every credit card. I held the scissors with shaking hands, feeling like I was cutting away a part of the person I had become. Each snap of the blade felt like both a punishment and a beginning. Next, we made a budget, a real one. We listed our income, our necessary expenses, and every debt we owed. Seeing the numbers was painful. It would take years to pay everything back. But facing the truth felt less frightening than running from it. I began learning how to manage my emotions instead of escaping them with shopping. When sadness crept in, I didn't open my laptop to buy something new. I walked into the living room and sat beside Trevor. Sometimes we talked for hours, sometimes I just cried, and he listened. Slowly, the urge to shop began to lose its power. The journey was not fast. It was not easy. But little by little, our relationship grew stronger, not because everything was perfect, but because we were finally honest. There were days when I felt guilty, days when I felt overwhelmed, and days when I worried I had ruined too much. But Trevor always reminded me, we're moving forward. Together. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was something quieter, steadier, and far more real. Two people rebuilding trust, learning patience, and choosing each other again, this time with open eyes. Now I understand that lying protects nothing. It only destroys trust, piece by piece, until there is almost nothing left to hold on to. For a long time, I believed that hiding my problem would keep my marriage safe. I thought that if Trevor didn't know, he wouldn't worry, he wouldn't be disappointed, and he wouldn't see the weakness I didn't want to face in myself. But secrets grow. They spread like shadows, and eventually they touch everything. Sometimes love means facing your weakness, not hiding it. It means looking directly at the parts of yourself that scare you and choosing to be honest anyway. I learned that shopping was never really about the things I bought. It was about the emotions I didn't understand: loneliness, stress, insecurity, fear. It was an emotional escape, not a financial habit. And the only way to break it was to speak the truth out loud. Happiness, I have learned, does not come from new clothes or pretty objects. It comes from honesty, connection, and courage. It comes from the quiet strength of saying, I need help, and the fragile bravery of accepting love even when you feel undeserving. This experience taught me the power of truth, the importance of transparency in love, and the reality that healing only begins when we stop hiding. My life is not perfect now, but it is peaceful. And that peace comes from knowing that the person Trevor loves is the real me, not the version I tried to hide behind shopping bags and silent fear. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for learning English through stories with us, and we hope to see you in the next episode.